Welcome to Car Talk with Matty J. Another Tuesday night, more car-related topics as per normal. In the studio with Riz and Tyron. What is happening?
What's happening, mate?
Hey, mate.
Thanks for coming on, guys. Riz, first time on the show.
Yeah, no, nice to be here. Thanks, Matty and Ty.
Impressed with you organising that Tesla drive a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
I don't know if you told you, Tyron.
No.
We went in a Tesla 100D.
Oh, yeah.
Bloody fast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Instant
car.
boost, huh?
It's just about.
Quick car. If you guys have ever been to high voltage carts,
Yeah.
out, where is it? West somewhere.
It's past Sunshine.
Yeah.
It's
Derrimut?
Ravensall.
Raven.
Oh, yeah, that's right,
It's out there where they also organise the monthly cars and coffee meetup.
That's right. Yeah.
If you've ever been to those go-karts, it's instant torque.
Yeah.
Instant torque, and this is what this thing was. So I thought it was fantastic, to obviously get a chance to experience something. Like, I thought to myself that this car's been out for 4 years now. Where have I been? It's so far ahead even to this day. It's fantastic.
It's the technology in it that just blows your mind away. Like, it's as we're having a discussion last week, and I got called by the other guys as a bit of a trader for like electric power. But yeah, you're right. Like, in the comparison between the carts at high voltage, it's just instant torque, and you put in your seat straight away. There's no wait for boost. There's no need to, there's no high revving, engine. You've just got torque all the time. And
Did you do the go-karts?
Yeah, I've been on those go-karts before. I've done them twice.
When did you go? Last Sunday?
No.
Okay, because they had last Sunday. They had an old car show there.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, and I actually went there to look at the car, but it was really hot. And then they were there for a while, and then they went off. And then I was with my missus' brother, and then you go, we were looking at the go-karts going around. I'm like, nah, stuff it, let's go. So we went in there for, I think it was a three laps or 15 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, we went in there, and the first lap, I was like, geez, just really fast. And to take the corner, you actually literally have to brake.
Right.
Otherwise, you literally lose control.
Yeah.
And by the end of it was pretty good. Like, it was the adrenaline rush was just wakes you up, and taking that corners around is completely different to a petrol go-kart.
Oh yeah, it's like, sorry to interrupt, but like with the petrol go-kart, it's a lot more momentum.
Yeah.
You got to keep it up in the revs, otherwise it's just going to die.
Yeah.
With these things, you don't have to.
Just nothing, exactly.
So I think that the first time I drove it was for a mate's birthday. He's like, I was like, well, screw it, we'll go go-karts. I'm like, oh yeah. He's like, oh, we'll go to high voltage. I did, but someone didn't know anything about it. He's like, the electric cars. I'm like, come on, man. Like, electric cars, like,
exactly,
really?
Yeah.
He's like, believe me, they're sick. I'm like, all right. So we went there, and I got on, and I was like, holy crap, this is actually they're quick.
Yeah.
And it surprised me, and I'm like, now that I know what like electric power engines just all torque, that's why the Tesla surprised me so much, is because it was just it's that, but multiplied by a lot more.
Yeah, and we're talking about a 2-ton car here.
Yeah.
That's what really surprised me, that it felt like a go-kart in a way, in the way it accelerated anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, having said that, I think like those high voltage carts, apparently I was talking to the CEO there. He reckons that they can, in the States, they've got them like higher capacity in terms of you can get more power. They've restricted the ones at high voltage here.
Really?
Because Australian sort of people are getting used to it.
Yeah.
When in the States they've had them for a couple of years now. So yeah, I think there's a bright future for electric carts anyway. I don't see the electric car industry booming anytime soon, given we've got no infrastructure.
That's the big issue, the infrastructure. Yeah. I mean, yes, you can get it to Sydney. Yes, I think you can get it to Queensland, but crossing the Nullarbor, not yet. Yeah. But having said that, Tesla's going about it the right way.
Yeah.
Big time. And like I mean, the whole dealer experience when we went to, it's what we talked about last week. I've never been in a dealer that they don't push. They know they're going to get sales eventually.
Yeah.
They know they're happy with where they're at, and they're developing. And the fact that they were just so accommodating and willing to just let anyone like have a go was fantastic.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. Like, the overall experience they've had is fantastic, and I think one of the key things moving forward is that they've got the transparency. They tell you this is what it is, and they're not going to push. The good experience. Maybe one day we'll have electric cars such as Tesla.
It's happening, Reece. It's happening, man. Okay, it probably won't be in the next 10 years. But I reckon in the next 20 years we're going to see a big change to electric cars.
Yeah.
Like car companies are going to be like, yeah, we're going to do it.
Yeah.
Everyone's just going to get on board because, I mean, look, there's nothing really to go wrong with them. There's two moving parts,
Exactly.
in the engines, And I was speaking last week, when you go to the dealership, they got like a chassis version of the car we drove. It's just the 2 motors, just suspension, and that is essentially it. And it's just got the holes obviously where the batteries go, but it's just for a 2-ton car, it bloody moves, and it was so impressive.
Yeah.
So getting on with that transparency that we were talking about before, you're coming up with a new venture, and it's. And we've discussed this in pretty good detail, but it's an issue that's happening. It's widespread within the car industry, I think, and I think it needs to be addressed. And how we got talking about, especially at like that Car Rice Open Day and stuff, we both agreed on that. Dealerships and stuff need to have a better point of contact, and the transparency needs to be there, because we're getting kind of mixed feelings. And then one company in particular has got the monopoly in terms of selling their cars, advertising their cars, and the dealers are getting charged a lot more money.
Yeah.
You've come up with I think probably a really good solution to this. And if you want to give us an explanation, it'd be
cool, Matty. So over the last 4 or 5 years, I've sort of been I'm the sort of car guy in the group of mates that I've got. So I'm really into helping my mates out if they're in the market for a new car, because I know it's one of those things that you have to go and deal with the car salesman, which there's no trust or transparency in. Yeah. The whole dealership experience is traditionally quite nerve-wracking.
Yes.
So to try and solve that, I'd been, because I help my mates out every couple of months, I'm like, well, there's got to be a better way. We've got to be able to enable normal consumers and car buyers with the same sort of level of experience that I've got. So if there's a way where we could leverage technology to give them the confidence where they don't feel, like the nerve wrack that they normally get when they're about to visit a dealer or about to buy a new car, then that would mean we're changing the industry. We're increasing transparency. We're allowing people, basically empowering people.
Yeah.
So I thought there has to be a way where I could empower the masses using technology and create transparency in the industry.
And just getting on this point is that the fact for non-car people, they go in to buy cars, they just push you'll have this one. And it's like, no, I don't want this one. I want, I was thinking about this one. Like, I went to a Ford dealership a few years ago, and I was looking at a G60 Turbo, and they're like, no, you don't want a G60 Turbo. It's an old man's car. I'm like, I really, really want one. They're like, no, here's the keys to a Focus RS. ST. Take that for a test drive. I'm like, no, I really want to take a G60 Turbo. Yeah. And they would just push you for that one, for the one car that's it's more suited to you. And it's just like, because they needed that sale. And I think, if I didn't know much about cars at the time, I'm like, it's bright orange, I'll buy that one. But I think Tyron, you've dealt with a few dealerships, and you've told me your experiences are a bit. Yeah,
varied. They're not really, how can I say that? Not really entirely 100% honest in what they're trying to sell to you. So like, if you go in there to buy a car that's what I do personally, is always research. Yeah. Always research, always look on the company website as what I want. Yeah. And then I know. And then if you go into showroom and you ask a guy of this or that, and if he doesn't know anything, straight away you just walk away. Because if that guy is selling you a car that does not know what's in that car, just don't buy from him at all. Yeah. So, you get your good people that know a lot, and they treat you well, and they give you a lot of stuff, and they give you a lot of knowledge about the car. But you also get the people that don't have any clue about it. So I've had a Toyota Corolla that I bought from a Toyota showroom, and a Ford Ranger that I bought from a Ford showroom. Both of them have had exceptionally well customer service, but the only issue that I had was when it came to delivery of the car. First, my Toyota was a wrong model that I got.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
It was literally totally wrong model I got.
You waited like 6 months.
Yeah, and then I still got a wrong model at the end of it. So I had to wait. Well, I told them, look, they try to do whatever they want. They try to change the color of the car. They try to change everything else. I said, no, if I wanted to change the color of the car, I would have got it at the start.
Yeah.
So why ask me for it?
Yeah.
So I said, no, this is the car I want, and this is what I want. I don't care what you do. I want it in the next week. That's it. I've waited too long for it. It's not my problem that you've made a mistake when you put in the order for the car. Then when I bought my Ford, I went there. They forgot to do the tinting of the car. They forgot to do the paint protection of the car. So I said, look, I don't care whatever you do. I'm going to work at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I need this car. You've called me up and you said the car's ready.
Yeah.
So to me, if I come to a showroom, I expect everything to be done.
Yeah.
Now, if I don't have all these things done, what am I going to? What do you want me to say about it? I've just bought a $65,000 car from you, and you can't even do two little things for it.
Yeah.
So yeah. Then I told him, I go, look, this is what's going to happen. I need a hire car anyways, so I need to get back home. And then they gave me a hire car, and then by that afternoon, 4:00 in the afternoon, the guy came and delivered the car and took the hire car back.
There you go.
So eventually they actually made up their promise on that, and they did deliver it.
It's just making it happen.
Yeah, it's like, to me, if you say something, you need to do it straight away.
Yeah.
Not wait or not prolong it or forget about it.
And I think that's a big point. I know with Reece, what we're about to mention just after the break, because we've got to go to a quick break, is helping empower people to be able to buy cars, know what they're getting.
Yeah, exactly.
Have an understanding of, okay, this car's got a good safety rating and stuff. And I think what you're doing is
and if
really
you can make it like a one-stop shop where you can get all that information, it'd be so much better than people, because people get lazy. People don't want to search for this, search for that. If you have everything in that one spot, they'll know everything about the car.
Yeah. And that's basically what we're trying to do. We're trying to put it all in one location. So the key things that matter to people.
Yeah.
So we're starting off with focusing on family cars. So what matters to a family?
Yeah.
Right? Safety, boot space, practicality, all the rest of it. The problem is when you read these long reviews, if you're not a car person, it doesn't mean anything to you.
It's gibberish, yeah.
Boring,
exactly. It doesn't mean anything to you. Even if you watch a video, yes, you can watch the video, but at the same time, have you got a checklist that you're ticking off that, yes, it's got a big enough boot space and stuff? So we're trying to do that. We're trying to empower people by using technology that I think personally hasn't been done before.
Yeah.
Not in Australia anyway. And I'm not aware of anywhere else where they've sort of really focused on a niche to try and help family car buyers, because believe it or not, SUVs are skyrocketing because that's what all the mums and parents are buying.
Yeah, so if you're gonna attract, you can give them these options of what you can get, and what would be suitable for your lifestyle.
That's right.
It'd make a really, really good tool to have, and it'd be really, I think, while it's spread widely and used well. We're gonna go to our first break of the night. We're gonna go to a song by Wafia. It's a song called "Only Love," Aussie artist. We always play Aussie artists here on Community Radio. We'll be right back after this. You're back on Car Talk with Matty J. Just talking during the break of like obviously with Tyron's experience, if you walk into a dealership and the person doesn't know about the car, kind of what are you doing there, and it makes it hard to, one, to sell a car, but two, to give the buyer confidence in knowing what they're getting, and confidence is a big issue and a big thing when you want to buy a car. And
that's right, Matty. Like, we've got the issue where if car people go into a dealership and they don't have any faith, like Ty said, in the salesperson that's selling something to them, because we've had a quick look online and what things are like, and this person who's selling the product doesn't know what the product is all about, then what confidence has, let's say, a mum got that's walking into the dealership? So then that's another element of it, where you've got women that are continuously taken advantage of when they go through dealerships, that they hate the experience and they don't want anything to do with it.
Yeah, and and that's and again, it's a whole other can of worms about, like, instantly assuming that they're going to want a car like this, and and pushing for the wrong thing when they want complete something different.
Yeah, and if we could take that away and do it all online, where you can give somebody the confidence and say, we haven't asked you anything apart from your lifestyle. Yeah. And based on that, these are the cars that we recommend to you, because they're the cars that are recommended by other people who are in the same sort of lifestyle, who are going through the same lifestyle as yourself.
Yep.
If you've got 2 kids, then there's other people that have got 2 kids. What cars are they driving?
Yeah.
And if we can give them, owner reviews to give them the confidence that, hey, this car is right. This car, you can fit a pram in the back.
Yeah.
Or you can, it's good on fuel. It's pretty close to what the manufacturer claims.
Yeah.
Then, at least that gives them the confidence, so they go well researched. But do it in a way where people can understand it.
Yes.
Not hundreds of lines of specification that average person doesn't understand.
And like, you still need the enthusiast who's going to read all that and will get it. But for the average person that just wants to buy a car, they just want to know, like, essentially like 5 main things, like really, like, safety, fuel economy, as you mentioned, space, reliability, facts from warranty.
Yeah.
They basically want to know they're the 5 things they want to know what they're getting. And if you're kind of beating around the bush and they say, okay, so how many years warranty is this? Oh, this one's only 3. Oh, how come down the road they're doing for 5?
Yeah.
It kind of plays on your mind there. If you're getting cap price servicing, if you're getting all these other things, they want to know basic things, how much it's going to roughly cost to maintain. You could even do like an insurance guide as well, like a rough estimate of how much insurance is for these cars. It'll be a really, really good and useful tool for these people to have.
Yeah, and to run it, like to basically how much does it cost to run? Like you said, you could work out quite easily if the cost of fuel is $1.40 on average, and if an average family does 10,000 Ks based on the fuel consumption, you can sort of work out this is the ballpark figure.
Yep.
Well, for me, personally, for what I really look for is obviously you've got your high-end prestige cars like your Beamers and your Mercedes and all that stuff, and then you've got your average economy cars. What I personally look for is the running cost of the car, so like the servicing and everything else, because buying a car, I can pay 60 grand for a car, but the after path of it is where it gets you. And obviously, you can know the reliability of the car. Like a Toyota is going to last way longer than a BMW, for instance, because of the parts that they use and depends on how you service it as well. Yeah. So obviously, if you keep it up to date and you take it to a genuine person that you know that is reliable and going to use proper parts, then the car's going to last way longer than anyone else. And by having these reviews, it tells people that, this person has taken it to the say a genuine Toyota dealer and they've used genuine parts. It's lasted longer, but this person hasn't taken it to a genuine dealer and it hasn't lasted that long. So it gives them an idea of what parts or what reliability the car is be able to, I guess, withstand with all the different parts that they use.
Yeah, and like having that difference between like for example, if you have like let's just say like a Corolla, they sell billions of them.
Yeah.
You can have for example for this one car you can have like 100 reviews, and like you roughly like let's say 90% are favorable.
Yeah.
You can read the 10%. Okay, so these are where these cars usually go wrong. So I'll have to keep that in mind, and it'll be good to just to have that have that knowledge. Okay, so if they're hard on like bushes or if they're hard on these things, it's going to cost about $200, but I'll get to that. At least it'll be cheaper than, for example, if my Beamer goes wrong, then I've got to pay a lot more.
Yeah, it's interesting. If you look at the cost, like there's cap price servicing that's available from a lot of the manufacturers, and I believe, don't quote me on this, I believe Toyota started that.
I'm not too sure.
I believe they were one of the first ones to massively advertise it, and then everybody got on board, including, you'd be surprised, the likes of BMW and Mercedes.
Yeah,
they don't call them cap price servicing because it sounds, it doesn't sound as fancy. It's not
a bit cheap.
It's not at that high class level of their customers, but they call it more like service plans.
Okay,
but it's more like, it's rather than it being, you pay $130 when you take a Corolla for a service, plus any parts on top.
Yeah.
They basically say you prepay or you pre-buy this. Okay. It's like a prepaid plan.
It's like a package.
I think that's what Ford are doing as well, but they don't call it a plan. They call it a service promise.
Yeah.
Because when I called up the guy, he goes, if you go on the internet on the Ford website and you put in your car make, your model, and what Ks it's done and what service it's going to do, they give you like a promised price. Then you can add that to the cart, and then you can go on and you can, if you want anything extra, so like you can rotate tires or do a brake check or disc machine or something, you can add them on, and they've got like a price there for everything.
Yeah.
So you can do that, and then you book your car and you go in there, and they'll do exactly what is said on that sheet.
See, I don't mind that because at least you know how much you're going to spend.
Exactly.
And you're not going to get the big
call.
Oh my god, this is like, how did this $100 always get to $1,000?
Exactly.
That doesn't make sense.
And it is very interesting, as Ty says, that the problem is you've got some companies calling it a promise, some companies calling it a plan, some companies calling it a cap price service, some companies calling it something entirely different. How is an average consumer meant to know what's what?
Yeah,
exactly.
So, like BMW plan it's a prepaid plan. They're like $1,500 over 3 years to service, let's say, an X3.
Yeah.
Right? But that doesn't include any of your parts.
Yeah.
So I've heard some stories and I've read some stories online where people have gone in and purchased this prepaid plan, paid $1,500, they drive an X3, the brake discs need to be replaced. They go in and they get something along the lines of like $800 or $900 to get the fronts done and $800 to $900 to get the backs done. And you think about it that way and you say, well, where is the transparency in that?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
If somebody knew that they were going to be charged $800 to $900 they would think twice. I've always had this sort of bone to pick with BMW, but sort of using run flat tires on everything.
Yeah.
You know, like run flat tires, something pops. I mean, they've come a lot cheaper because Mercedes is using them.
Everyone's
now.
using them now.
A whole lot of them using it now. But when they first came out, you know, you had no option. You had to use them.
Yeah.
And people were going over tram tracks and popping them every couple of thousand kilometers.
Yeah.
And and then they started selling this tire package.
Yeah.
Which was like $2,000 or something, and you were allowed X amount of replacements. But that's high end.
Yeah.
Right.
But still, I mean, I was speaking to Tyron when he bought the Ranger, and I'm like, oh, you would have got cap price service. He's like, no. He's like, nah. He's like, certain cars only get it.
Yeah,
So
they didn't have it for the Ranger.
The Wild Track.
Yeah, the Wild Track.
They got it for,
they got it for the other models, but not for the Wild Track.
It's a quick question. Why not the Wild Track? Like, I know it's got the 3.2 litre engine in it.
it's the same engine. It's the same.
Exactly.
It's the same 6-cylinder, I believe it is.
Five.
Yeah,
Five
Yeah.
cylinder. It's the same engine as what you find in other Ranges, but why
XLT.
Wild Track?
Yeah.
Same thing with the Mustang. They don't offer it
Yeah.
for the Mustang, and like you know, these are things that people need to know.
Yeah.
So for example, I would have walked in there expecting cap price servicing.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, they're advertising it.
Yeah.
And then that's what they say. You got to read the really fine print
Fine
at the
print,
right
yeah.
at the bottom of the
Yeah.
screen.
But it's sad how they always pull the contract out.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
it's sad, like, even if you buy the car and something doesn't go right, they pull the contract. Well, this clause says that we're not liable for this.
Exactly. Yeah.
But mind you, look, I'll be honest, I think it's very few dealers that are giving the rest of the dealers a bad name.
Yeah.
You know, it's just those experiences that people are having. And because, you know, we always remember our bad experiences more than our good experiences.
That's right, yeah.
So it's, you know, to give, I guess, the dealership community credit, a lot of them are doing the right thing. The problem is you've got one company calling it something else, and then you've got, like you said, model exclusions on cap price servicing. And by the time you include parts and everything on there, it just seems like, you know, you don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah, and I think this is where you're, you know, if this, once this takes off, it'll be an amazing tool, because you say, okay, I'm going to get, you know, for example, if there's an i30, there's like, you know, like let's say 3 models that are on there. Okay, if I get the SR, I get all this stuff, and it still has cap price servicing, and it's going to cost me this much to run, and it's going to be this. If I go for the lower spec, I'm not going to get these things, but it's going to be the same thing to run. But if I buy, for example, the N, I won't get these things.
Yes.
You know, so it's going to really break it down for people.
Yeah, I think that's the major, probably the major solution is that people say, oh yeah, it's a Corolla, but they don't know what Corolla it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you go to an average person that does not give a crap about a car, as long as it takes them from A to B or whatever, you go to that person and go, all right, if he says, oh, I want a Corolla, he goes to the showroom. Now the dealer's going to pull out, oh, well, what do you want the Corolla Ascent? Do you want the Corolla Sport? Do you want the Corolla 11ZR
11ZR, yeah.
or the SX or whatever? The guy's not going to know what he wants. He's going to say, yeah, I just want a Corolla.
Yeah.
But then he takes it out and then he goes, well, my mate's got this and all this stuff in it, but I've only got all the lower end model of the lower end specs of it, because the dealer hasn't told him that or explained to him all these different specs
yeah.
into it. And by having this this knowledge of all these different models, like by putting it out to them, like say, all right, this car is suited for you, but now these are the models that you can get from it. It gives the buyer a chance to say, oh, look, I could spend an extra another $2,000 and I can get a better model which has got a little more like leather seats or compared to a cloth seat or whatever. So it gives them a more variety of more choice to make better decisions than to just go for something that's just plain simple.
And it will have them say, okay, well, if I can budget for this, you know, and I think the average person and average family, you know, they usually budget for things, or like for expenses. So it's like, okay, maybe if we say that a little bit longer, we'd be able to get the better car.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, and we know we can get all this in this package for you know, roughly this price. You know, I think that'd be a good option for us, because it'll have, you know, the higher safety rating or whatever it is. You know, and I think as well, like, safety is like a massive, like,
That's probably the number one
thing.
Yeah.
You know, if you're, you know, really worried about safety, you say, okay, well, I'm not going to get the base model. I'm going to only get the one that's got everything in it, like you know, autonomous braking and, you know, all that stuff.
And that's where things sort of need to, like, you mentioned budgeting, Matt, like, that's one thing that you need to really look at, because budgeting, there's so much behind that.
Yep.
You know, like, the cost of ownership comes in,
Registration,
finance, registration,
insurance,
stamp duty,
yes.
which I know these days are sort of, it's getting up there.
It's getting ridiculous, to be honest.
And you know, like, it's all these things which people don't factor in.
Yeah.
Plus, on top of that, if you're looking at a recommended retail price,
that's just the car.
that's just the car, and that's before.
That's before taxes,
dealer delivery.
Yeah, and that's another one that they don't tell until you get there.
Dealer delivery. After you purchase the car, a nice girl's going to come to you and she's going to say, well, I think you need paint protection as well.
Yeah.
And you need tinting.
Yep.
So you go through us, it's going to be about $2,500.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, what is dealer delivery? What is paint protection? Do I actually need it?
Yeah.
What is it for? You know,
they're essentially charging you to take off the plastic on the seats and stuff. And it's a cost that they don't tell you, but it adds up.
Yeah, and look, the other thing that I think some of the listeners might be surprised about, I mean, they don't make much on selling you the car. They make obviously their margins are higher on servicing, on these add-ons, on these accessories, which is okay. Every business needs to make money, and that is currently their way of doing it. But if you tell somebody that, hey, this is what we're doing, this is where we actually make our money. The problem is a lot of the dealerships or the industry itself is very closed door. You don't know what happens behind the doors.
Yep.
Because there hasn't been transparency in the past. Nobody's really told the consumers or general public. And yes, many might not even care, which is fine.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you tell them that that's how they operate, then
you get a better understanding.
You can be a bit more empathetic, or understand it a bit better. So I think there's problems on both sides.
Yeah.
But how we can make it more transparent, I guess that's the problem we're trying to solve.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be a really, really good tool for like those people that don't know all these extra costs and all these extra little things. Going into buying a car, they'll be like, I didn't realize I was coming to spend $19,990 on a Corolla, or now that you're telling me it's going to be $22 on road. I didn't budget for this. I don't know how I'm going to afford this.
Exactly.
I might have to think about it, and then they'll be on the phone the next week. Oh, look, we might be able to do it a bit cheaper. But they won't. The confidence isn't there, and you will lose your confidence as soon as they sell. Okay, we got to add this on. Got to add this on. Got to add this on. Your confidence level is going to it's going to just drop, and you're going to be like, okay, I didn't realize all these other expenses. You're going to have a bad experience because you're going to be like, well, I didn't budget for this to happen. And you don't really want that, when you're buying a car. It's a big investment,
Exactly.
It's regardless if it's a $500 car or a $50,000 car.
Yeah, and at the same time, I mean, there's other factors like paint.
Yeah.
Metallic paint is $500 to $1,000 more depending on the car you buy.
Yep.
Transmission, some come with free auto, as in some are only automatic.
Yeah.
And others come with
Got to pay extra.
Volkswagen, I think, it's $2,500.
Yeah.
For a gearbox that's going to fail in 2 years' time anyway.
It is, yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not picking on Volkswagen.
No,
it's a known fact. I think the new wet clutch ones are going to be a bit better.
The wet clutch ones are a lot better. The wet clutch ones that they've used in the GTIs for a while now, and they're actually pretty robust. But it was the dry clutch ones that have a massive issue. I mean, Ford's had the same issue with the power shift transmissions in the Focus and Fiesta and EcoSport. So, and I think I don't see a use for DSGs in normal cars. I find them so pointless.
Yeah.
It's not a race car.
Exactly.
You don't need quick shifts like if you drive into the shops. What's wrong with the conventional order? And that's why Ford's gone back to the conventional order with the new Focus.
Reliability issues.
Yeah, it's you don't want to be budgeting for a clutch every 20,000 Ks.
Exactly.
Like, what the hell's the point? It's expensive. A lady I work with, she's got a 2013 Focus Trend.
Yep.
And she just drives it to work, to the shops, to church. That's it. That's all she drives it to. And barely does any Ks. And she took it for a service, and the dealer's like, oh yeah, you got to do your clutches. She's like, how much is that going to cost? She's like, oh, it's all right, we'll cover it under warranty this time. But the car hadn't done many Ks at all. And I'm like, this isn't a good thing.
But then why is it that they put it back to the owner and say, well, we're going to cover you this time, like they're doing you a favor?
Yeah.
Well, if the owner doesn't know because you haven't sent recall letters, you haven't sent, the issue that you've had with that, the fact that it's not reliable or it doesn't last, it's not durable.
Yeah, well, and this issue not you just see it's widespread, it's all over the world with this particular transmission. I mean, VW's had this issue, with their DSGs. I think it's just a really, really. Like I don't know if they use that terminology or we'll cover you this time, but we'll cover it. But that's because they were told to cover it under warranty.
But I mean, the thing with DSG, and once again another figure I'm going to think about, it's DSG. I think they started putting it into cars in 04, 03, 04?
Early 2000s. Because
early 2000s.
I know it was brought out in a lot of the Audis back in the day. And so,
and it's taken them, 13 years or 14 years, and it's still not perfected. So why continue? And you look at, like, I was reading something yesterday, and the Levorg STI has got a CVT now.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
what's the point?
You've got cars that are running CVTs because, back in the day, they just couldn't put the power through.
Yeah.
Now they can. So they're putting them into these supposedly sports cars.
Which people are going to tune and hot up anyway. And
exactly.
They're not going to last.
They're not going to last. So you've got both ends of the spectrum.
Like, I think, like, the conventional auto these days is just as good. Like, when people, for example, like, I'll just use an XR6 Turbo as an example with the ZF Auto.
Fantastic.
It's one of the best transmissions you can buy. It's used in everything. The shifts, like the upshifts, are like, it still does the fuel cut. You still get like that fart noise, like under high boost and stuff, and you can make a lot more power out of them reliably. Yeah. It's just, I think, because they're so widespreadly used over so many cars, that they've got to get the transmission right. I mean, they're used in Jags, Beamers. You got to get the transmission right, and I just think that the whole DSG in like a $10,000 car is pointless.
Yeah, and that's the thing, though. Why? I mean, I know why Volkswagen Group's doing it, because they've spent so much money on R&D. They have
to get it right eventually.
They have to get it right eventually. And the other key thing is, like, I know now, Matty, you were mentioning earlier about what's wrong with the conventional auto. Apparently, I believe BMWs and Mercedes are going backwards. They're going conventional autos. They've found a way to get the same sort of, time. The time saving you get to DSG, they've been able to do that in conventional auto now.
Yeah, and like as I previously said, the conventional autos just I've come such a long way. They're not the slosh boxes they used to be of 15, 20 years ago. They're actually really, really good. Like, for example, I was watching a review. I don't know if you guys know Chris Harris.
Yes,
yeah,
Chris Harris.
One of my favourite automotive journalists.
Yeah,
he's fantastic. Really, really knows what he's talking about. Doesn't BS. Just straight to the point, and the guy can wheel too. Like, he knows what he's doing. Anyway, he was reviewing the Lexus GSF and the BMW M5.
Yeah.
And he's like, while the BMW M5's got like a bazillion more horsepower and it's got a dual clutch, he's like, the conventional auto in the GSF, for what it is just as it doesn't shift 0.1 of a second quicker, but it's it does the job perfectly fine. It's for that car, and the DSGs are really and he asked you the question, really, is it that needed for like that extra shift time? I mean, it's not a Lamborghini, it's not a Ferrari. Yeah, exactly. It's you're buying a VW, you're buying a Ford. It's not. I get why they're there, and like it's like with everything, with every technology they're trying to really develop. I mean, Tesla's doing it. They're still, I think, still in their infancy days. But they're really pushing forward the technology. If you look how far they've come from the original Tesla Roadster.
Yeah.
Now they've got cars that can go the distance reliably, and it's been proven. They're on the right track.
Well, the thing is now, like, Elon Musk has come out recently, I think late last year, and he said now the motors that are coming out are rated for 1 million miles.
Yeah.
A million miles.
1 million miles, yeah.
Before service.
Dude, we got there and they were like, oh, it's like 8-year unlimited kilometer warranty. I was like, so I could drive this over 1 million Ks. I think you asked this question. And like, yeah, that's we'll cover you. Like, it's standing by your car. I've got nothing wrong with that. Look, we're going to get to our next break of the night. We're going to come back and talk about the Hyundai i30N, which I think is pretty cool little hot hatch, which is getting good reviews, but I'm yet to see one on the road. I haven't seen one at all yet.
Yeah.
And we're going to tell why. I mean, we see Golfs and everything, like Megans and stuff everywhere, but we don't see these. So we'll be right back after this. You're back on CarTorque with Matty J. The song that's called the song's by Humble. The song's called Beginnings. You're back on CarTorque with Matty J. Still in the studio with Riz and Tyron. We're going to talk all things i30N.
Yes.
So really, this is like a massive step. Like, the Koreans have been coming along are big time lately. With the Stinger. I don't know if you've seen the.
I like the Stinger.
Yeah, it's a nice car.
Yeah, it's a good car.
Kia's coming with the Stinger. Hyundai's with the new N division, which you said during the break stands for Nürburgring.
Yeah, Nürburgring. Cool. So there's a lot to do with, obviously, these cars that the N edition is basically a new division for them. You can sort of think of it as the M division that BMW has. Because
you said the previous engineer, the head engineer, was for M division.
So the what Hyundai, and part of their growth strategy, Hyundai Kia Group. Yeah. It's one group, right? Group, so part of their growth strategy over the last couple of years has been to basically hire the world's best engineers.
Yep.
You know, the people that have done it before.
I mean, I know that Kia hired the Audi designer.
Yeah.
And changed the
Designs completely.
Completely, and they're good-looking cars.
Yeah, fantastic-looking cars. And the way things are moving now, like, they shamelessly get it. But if you go to a Korean official, like, you know, that works for Hyundai, and you tell them that, hey, you guys have poached this person, and this car is German car, this N division car, they get offended.
Yeah.
They get offended because they're like, no, this is a Korean car.
Yeah.
You know, and the way they've done that is fantastic because they've been able to get the best talent in and put all that knowledge into improving an existing car like the i30. And this i30N is one of their first big experiments. But like the Stinger, which was, I think, probably the most anticipated car in 2017.
I'd say so, yeah. It was...
In Australia, anyway.
Definitely Australia, yeah.
Because of all the things that were going on with the Commodore moving out and, you know, we no longer have a powerful V8. Mm-hmm. So this car was supposedly large, spacious, has the power. It's been followed up. I think i30N was meant to come out late last year in Australia.
Okay.
But it didn't. It was postponed for some weird reason, and nobody said why.
Okay. Because I still haven't seen one. Like, I really want to go see what they feel like and look like in a more tactile form.
Well, they sound really, really good. So there's a video that popped out late last year because that head of ex-head of BMW M division who works for Hyundai now, he was out here testing the i30N for Australian conditions at the Bathurst track. And there was a video floating around there, which I think Hyundai promoted fairly well, and not on TV, but on YouTube anyway. Yeah. You can hear that car. And that car sounds like a Golf R, if not better. Yeah. You know, and it sounds better. It's probably not as quick as the Golf R, but it definitely sounds better. It's more, the i30N is more meant to compete against the GDI.
GDI, I'd say probably Megane, like 265s and stuff like that. Yeah. Focus STs.
Those sort of hot hatches.
Yeah, not in the hyper range, like with your Golf Rs and
or the A45s.
A45s,
RS3.
RS3.
Yeah.
So, but I think, because I don't know if you know this, but the i30 comes in IRS and non-IRS, like the standard models.
Okay.
Which is really, really weird for a small car to have, like the higher spec ones come with IRS, because it's more expensive to make. And the IRS package is a lot more expensive. Yeah. But it defies logic. Like, I mean, that is like the one thing I'm kind of not. I can see why they can cut costs, because if they can make the same car cheaper, and they say, to be honest with you, unless you're driving on like a really, really quick road, and like you're not going to tell the difference 99.9% of the time, which makes sense. But it's just really weird to know that they offer both IRS and non-IRS in the i30.
Yeah, and I think it's so this with the N, they're sort of pushing the envelope with that as well, because they're saying, well, actually, we're going to put a better engine in this in terms of performance-wise, so we're going to give the performance enthusiasts what they've been after, which is a cheaper, more affordable version of GDI. I mean, GDI these days, I think by the time you drive out of the dealership, it's close to 50 grand.
Yeah, I mean, a base model GDI starts at about 41, 42. Yeah. So plus on roads, you're looking at a lot more money.
Yeah, by the time you option it up to in the color in the paint you want and all the rest of it, it's getting close to the 50 grand mark. Yeah, which is a lot of money for somebody. Where if you could bring that down to like, I don't know, late 30s, early 40s, that means a big difference for even enthusiasts. Like if somebody wants a hot hatch, they shouldn't have to sort of remortgage their house and go to another lender and borrow another 200 grand to buy this thing, I
mean, the whole point of a hot hatch was that it's supposed to be cheap, affordable performance. And I think, I hate to get back on Fords, I'm not riding Ford at the moment, but when I went to test drive an ST, it was 42 on the road, like 42.5 on the road. And I'm like, that was cheaper than the GDI, cheaper than everyone else. And no wonder why you see a lot of them, because they were the cheaper option. And that's what they should be priced at. I mean, if you're spending 50 grand on a GDI, I may as well buy a 1-year-old Golf R.
Exactly.
You'd be stupid not to, like that's what it comes to.
And that's the funny thing. I mean, like the fact that you can get a Golf R, then I mean, if you don't care about the warranty, go and get a because it doesn't matter. DSG's going to fail regardless. Not all of them.
They are pretty good.
You can get an APR kit. I don't know if you guys have heard of the APR performance kits.
They do like 2.5 seconds to one. Yeah, they're nuts.
Exactly. You can get one of those kits, and it's another 10 grand or whatever, and these things will do quarter miles. I don't even know how quick. You know.
I mean, you're getting bigger turbo exhaust, and like they're a seriously fast car. One of my brother's friends has got a Golf R with the APR stuff, and my brother went in it and he's like, bloody hell, like it's unreal. You know, the way it just from a dig, it just pulls.
It's crazy. I've been in a S3.
Oh yeah.
With APR Stage 2 kit in it.
Yeah.
And this thing was insane.
Yeah, but it would have been a rocket.
Like it was. I think the friend that had it, he borrowed it off his friend.
Yeah.
He says it does, I think, 0 to 100 in 3.1 seconds. You know, and
that's a big heavy car too.
That is a heavy car, and it hadn't had a lot stripped out of it either. It wasn't like a Porsche 911 GT2 or something that just got everything stripped out of it.
Yeah.
So, but i30Ns, I think that's probably going to be one of the most, and it's probably smart by Hyundai's, regard, because they didn't release it in the same year as the Stinger.
Yes.
Because if they did, I think it would shoot in sales. Because you guys remember Scirocco.
Yeah.
Right? The Volkswagen Scirocco. What happened to that car? Volkswagen refused to release the standard Scirocco that you can get because it was going to go into the Golf territory and it was going to chew sales of Golf.
Which is stupid, to be honest with you, because like the Scirocco is a lot better looking car.
Exactly.
Because they don't really Scirocco R here, and Scirocco R is not a proper R anyway because it's an all-wheel drive. Like it's still front-wheel drive. So you don't see many of them for that reason, and I'm like, well, now they've stopped selling it. They've stopped selling the Beetle here too.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, it was a bit lackluster in there what they've done with the Golf.
Well, I hope they don't go down the Nissan path, which they've removed the Micra and all the other cars from their baseline. They're only running on SUVs and one Ute.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's the product line. They've got nothing, and that's poor on Nissan Australia's behalf because, I mean, the market itself. Yes, the market is all SUVs, but the thing is, if you've got a dad who takes his son in to buy a Nissan Pulsar. When he's there, he's going to look at the Qashqai or the bigger or the Navara or something else, and he might think about buying that over the next 6 months.
Yeah.
But if you don't even have that lead, or you don't even have the foot in the door because you don't sell Pulsars anymore,
yeah, I mean you've lost it. You've lost it. Yeah, and as I've mentioned on the show previously that they've said, I remember Nissan's ad campaign. We are proudly selling Australia's largest SUV range. Yeah, you are, because you're not selling anything else. So. Kind of defeats the purpose, but I think the pricing with this. Sorry, getting back on the i30N is going to be fantastic because it's coming out with two specs. You're saying, Tyron, right?
They've got the standard at $37,500,
which is a great entry point.
Which is exactly, and they've got the performance pack, which I think it's about $5,000 more for $42,500.
On the road?
I don't know if it's on the road. Just they've just estimated. So
and that'll be with everything.
Too. Yeah, that's performance. So that's
with the more
taking it to like the ultimate speed that you can take that car, and that's what they've written here. Like, I mean, it's not the quickest and not the most powerful and loaded with all the tech gosmos.
Yeah,
but it certainly has the broader depth of character to be more affordable and more engaging to drive than the Golf GTI.
Yeah, and I think that's a big point.
Exactly.
Because what made the original Golf GTI such a classic is because it was fun and engaging, and they're kind of just an appliance now. And we spoke about this like a few weeks ago with we did a Golf R, Focus RS, and Civic Type R special, a comparison between the three. And we just the other like Focus RS and the Civic Type R, like they're really balls out, hyper hatches. Yep. But like while the Golf R is really really good and competent, it's just kind of plain, and like all the Golfs have kind of look the same. Yeah,
that's what I find with them. Like they bring out a new one, but what's the difference between that one and that one? I mean, it's the same thing. So they don't. I don't know. Haven't really fallen for Golf at the moment. So unless they come up with something more completely different, change the whole design of it, make it something different.
See, I think the whole VW group design-wise are very very lazy.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of with like Porsche, like they all kind of look the same. They've looked the same for a bazillion years. Golf's looked the same for the last 20 years. It's. I mean, while they are good and competent cars. I would hands down take an i30N over a Golf Golf GTI all day, every day.
I think Volkswagen is trying something different with the Arteon.
Yes,
with the new Arteon, but the problem is I sat in it and it felt like a Passat.
Okay,
and I'm like, well, what's the point? What's the point of spending $7? Yes, it looks brilliant. Yes, it's got safety tech, but I mean, I know the old one used to be Passat CC, so I understand that. But you're paying $25,000 more for this car. When you could have I think it's Passat 206.
Yeah.
You get Passat 206 for under $50,000, and that's a powerful car.
That's and then they're quick and they're all-wheel drive too, aren't they?
I don't know.
Okay, I have to double check that. But still, it's really $75,000. Really?
Yeah. But going back to the i30N, I think this car, I'm not sure when it's coming out.
Actually, God, it says here on sale March 2018.
March.
Cool. That's probably why I haven't seen one yet.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Cool.
But usually you see like a couple of pre-productions getting driven by obviously journos. You do see them around. Like I remember before the Stinger came out, I seen a few. I'm like, oh hey, that's a Stinger.
Yeah.
So yeah, really really interesting. I would definitely buy one. I mean, if they're coming full kitted with everything for 42 plus on roads, that is pretty bloody good. I mean, that's the same thing with the ST. You couldn't buy any options with it because it came fully kitted as it is. And that was our price. Whereas GDI, you're just touching GDI money. And I think for a car with a bit more character, and I love the blue. I reckon the blue gets hot.
The blue looks insane.
Yeah. I would totally rock one. I would rock one over a GDI.
Yeah.
And I'm not VW bashing it, but I would rock one over a GDI. I mean, and plus it's a Hyundai, and they're kind of really good.
Well, exactly the 5-year warranty that you don't get, which Volkswagen, it sounds like it's a Volkswagen bashing show, but in the States, they've just announced a 6-year warranty.
Why don't they release it here?
And Volkswagen CEO arrogantly said to, I think, someone at Car Advice, that we don't need it. The market is going to pay whatever the market's going to pay. The problem is, it's taken Kia 3 years with their 7-year warranty and promoting it like no tomorrow. Last year, they had the success where they'd grown by 20-something% over 1 year.
Yeah.
And now Ford started that too now, 7 years.
Yeah, Holden started that.
Yeah,
Holden did that. Holden did that for a short period of time. Yeah. Apparently they sold a whole lot of Astras, but I believe there's some number fudging going on in the sales.
Okay.
in December.
Inverted commas.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's especially with VW's reputation at the moment in tatters after Dieselgate and after the DSG. I'm not going to pick on him, but he's been saying some really, really odd things, especially about the dealer servicing and stuff. Yeah. I don't know if you guys seen those articles. Really, just it's pretty much said it's a big middle finger to the consumer, and you're already in dire straits. Why are you doing it?
Exactly. Yeah. And one more thing, which I think it came out last week. Apparently, Volkswagen were doing some animal testing.
Animal testing?
Apparently some animal testing with something to do with diesel fumes and monkeys.
What?
I don't know. That's something for, I guess, our listeners to look into.
I don't know what to say. I'll have to look into that, actually. We're going to get to our last break, and then we'll be right back in about 40 seconds. You're back on CarTorque with Matty J. We just found out it's legit because we're looking it up.
It's full legit. They've been doing tests on monkeys.
Yeah, I'm not even going to go there at the moment, to be honest. It's okay. I think that's a good place to end the show. We don't have time for the quiz today. We'll probably do it next week. But thank you guys for coming on the show.
No worries.
Awesome. That was great.
That was a good show.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. I have to get you guys on again. It's always good to have a fun and informative. I mean, usually we sit here and talk crap for an hour and just have a laugh. But it's good to have an informative show about the problems that dealers and us as consumers are facing. And once you get this up and running, we can definitely give it a plug and just get people on board because it's you're doing a good thing for people and I think
for society. For
society, yeah. It's we need it as consumers and as humans we need the help from each other. And by you doing this is it's going to be a great thing.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Tyron.
No worries. Thanks for that.
Thanks for the lift too. He picked me up today. He's like, "Oh, come get you." I'm like,
"Yeah,
nice.
Why not?"
Go for a ride on a wild track. Like and share our Facebook page. It's CarTorque, TORQE with Matty J. If you haven't already, if you've missed any of our shows or want to listen to more of them, we've got our podcast up on Shout Engine and the links on our Facebook page. But if you prefer on iTunes as well, we're also on iTunes, so you can definitely listen to it on there. All of our episodes are on there. We upload weekly. If you've got any questions, send us through a message. We'd be more than happy to hear from you. James, his show Man vs Movies on a 6 p.m. on a Tuesday night, always good. He's mixing it up, which is really really good. And we're on at 7 o'clock straight after his show. So if you want to listen to a live 7 p.m. on a Tuesday night here on 98.9 Northwest FM. Thank you again, guys, and I will see you next week. Take it easy.
This is professional radio, gentlemen.
That would
And
be
it's front-wheel drive.
Scotty, have you got anyone you want to thank?
Just myself.
And now we do the after hours. Dun, dun, dun.
Gentlemen, what would you go for?
Thanks to your Sandero.
Okay, and because it's not a supercar.
But it is.
It's not.
Automotive perfection comes in the form of two letters, A and U.
Long live my LTD.